Good evening and thank you for joining me. Today, we're taking a closer look at what matters deeply to many of us aged 50 and above here in the United Kingdom: the full payment schedule for the state pension in November 2025, how much it is rising by, and what that means for real people and real households across the country. Please remember, it's always wise to double-check every detail with official government sources for your personal circumstances. The most important change to understand is the increase that took effect from the 6th of April 2025. The basic rate of the older style state pension for those who reached pension age before the 6th of April 2016 has risen to £176.45 per week. The newer flat rate state pension for those who reached pension age on or after the 6th of April 2016 now stands at £230.25 per week. That means someone on the full basic pension receives around £9,175 per year, while someone on the newer full pension receives around £11,973 annually, assuming full entitlement. Why does this matter for November? Because even though the uprating begins in April, the November payment is one of the key monthly installments when many pensioners take stock of their finances heading into the colder months. It's also when people tend to feel the difference most, as heating bills, food prices, and day-to-day living costs begin to climb. For many, this payment acts as a reality check, a reminder of just how important every pound truly is. This year's increase was driven by what's known as the triple lock system. That means the state pension goes up each year by whichever is highest out of the change, in average earnings, the rate of inflation, or a minimum of 2.5%. For the 2025 to 2026 financial year, average earnings growth came in at 4.1%, the highest of the three, and that figure became the basis for the increase. So, what does that mean in real terms for your November payment? If you qualify for the full new state pension, you are now receiving £230.25 per week. Over 4 weeks, that works out at £921. For those on the older basic pension, the weekly rate of £176.45 adds up to around £705.80 for a 4-week month. Of course, some months may include 5 weekly payments depending on your individual schedule, and your actual amount may vary depending on your national insurance record or if you chose to defer your pension. Let's consider a familiar example. Imagine a woman born in May 1955 who reached state pension age under the new system. She has 35 full years of national insurance contributions. Her weekly amount is £230.25. Her November payment covers 4 weeks, so she receives £921 that month. Now think of a man born in March 1948 who qualified under the older system. His weekly rate is £176.45, which gives him roughly £705 for the month. Although both have seen a rise this year, the newer system still provides a noticeably higher income, a difference that continues to shape how comfortable retirement can feel. It's worth pausing to appreciate that increase. The new state pension has risen from £221.20 to £230.25, a weekly uplift of just over £9. Across the full year, that adds up to nearly £470 more income. For anyone living on a fixed income, that is not insignificant. It might mean an extra trip to the shops, a slightly warmer home, or fewer worries about unexpected bills in the run-up to Christmas. However, not everyone receives the full rate. If you have gaps in your national insurance record, you might receive less than the full amount. If you deferred your pension, your payment may be higher. Those living abroad in countries without an uprating agreement might find their pension frozen at an earlier rate. The key point is that every person's circumstances are unique, and it's always worth checking your own record to make sure you're receiving what you're entitled to. We should also talk about tax. While the new state pension of around £12,000 a year remains close to the current personal tax allowance, future rises may push more pensioners into the income tax bracket, particularly those with additional earnings from savings interest, part-time work, or private pensions. If your total income exceeds the personal allowance, even by a small amount, you could find yourself paying tax for the first time in retirement. It's worth preparing for that possibility early, so it doesn't come as a surprise. Now, about the actual payment schedule in November 2025. State pension payments are typically made every 4 weeks, directly into your bank account, on the same weekday as your first payment. The exact day depends on the last 2 digits of your national insurance number. While I cannot give a single national date, because payments are staggered, most people will see their November installment arrive between the 1st and the 28th of the month. It's important to remember that if your payment date falls on a weekend or bank holiday, it will usually be made on the previous working day. As you prepare for winter, this November payment represents more than just money, it's security, independence, and peace of mind. Many people over 50 have spoken about how the state pension, even at a modest level, gives them a foundation of stability in uncertain times. It might not stretch as far as it once did, but it remains one of the most reliable sources of income available to older citizens in this country. If you've ever felt unsure about how your pension fits into the bigger picture of your retirement income, this is the time to review it. Check your statement online or request a printed forecast. Confirm that you're getting what you're owed. If you have any doubts, or if something looks off, contact the pension service directly. For those approaching pension age, you can still make voluntary national insurance contributions to fill certain gaps, potentially boosting your future payments. The rise this year will be a relief to many, but it also highlights how delicate the balance can be between maintaining dignity and managing costs. Prices remain higher than before the pandemic, and energy bills are still unpredictable. While 4.1% sounds positive, it may not feel like much once you factor in rent, council tax, and grocery prices. That's why this conversation about pensions must always go hand in hand with wider discussions about cost of living and long-term financial planning. If you find this kind of breakdown useful, please show your support by giving this video a like. It helps ensure that more people in our age group stay informed about what's happening with pensions and money in the United Kingdom. You can also subscribe to the channel to hear clear, straightforward updates about your finances without unnecessary jargon or confusion. Thank you for watching, for staying engaged, and for caring enough to stay informed about something that affects so many of us directly. Keep an eye on your payment dates, review your pension statement, and remember that understanding your money is the first step towards feeling confident about your future.